Welcome back, everyone. This is James, and I want to talk about driving in Japan today. It's a pretty wide, easy topic to talk about. It's very common up here in northern Japan. Maybe in Tokyo and bigger cities, Kyoto, like you'll use a lot more subways, trains. But for getting around, just the little cities and just around in general, you definitely want to have a car if you're coming up to the northern area because it's a lot more spread out and seems than um, other places to me. But drive on the left side of the road, as most people know, it's a lot more narrow than you're used to, and by narrow, it feels like mountain roads. If you've ever driven on a mountain road where it's really tight, doesn't feel like there's much room to give, that's what you're going to be feeling. But sometimes they'll have shoulders for bikes, which is awesome. I'll do a um, bike episode later because I want to do a whole thing on biking, but I haven't really got too into it yet, so I definitely want to do more on it. But biking seems really big in Japan, is really big in Japan, and I kind of want to get on board. But driving a car in Japan is common, and it's comes with its share of difficulties. Staying on the left side of the road takes a couple of weeks to get used to. Definitely gotta remember that you can't in Japan you can't take left or right turns at a red light, unless it's like a green arrow, of course. But at a red light, you can't do either. So it's because buses and big trucks, dump trucks, stuff like that, when they're making the wide turns and everything, there's no clearance. So America, the white line's up here, right up here, where you can kind of see all the whole intersection. In Japan, it's really back, so when they make that turn, you're gonna get smacked if you're up here, just because everything's so narrow, you can't really make that wide turn. And it's not too bad. I mean, right turns feel really weird. They feel a lot harder than the left turns did back in the States. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just not used to them yet. But it's once you get used to everything, it starts being very enjoyable. I don't know why, it just feels kind of nice to be on the other side for some reason, even though I have most foreigners, I'm sure, have that bad habit of getting in on the left side of the car, whereas obviously you're going to be on the other side, on the right. The cars here, at least in northern Japan, you kind of step back almost 10 years, it feels like. If you got into a time machine, step 10 years back, the most you would see out of a car is like 2003, 2004. That is it. My car myself, I got a Subaru B4. It's a 2000, and surprisingly, I have very low kilometers on it. But most cars, I mean, are just 96 to 2002, maybe. That's the range, and they work just fine. There's a lot of insurance rules here, a lot of rules in general. JCI, it's a Japanese compulsory insurance. That's something that needs to be renewed every 2 years, and it costs a couple $1,000, depending on your car. Older, the more problem it has, probably the more JCI is going to be. Road tax every year, so it's kind of like, I don't know, renewing your plates, I guess, essentially. Um, you got that also, so getting a car here can cost you, average maybe, say, $4,000 for the car. And then on top of everything, once you start getting into JCI and everything, it may end up being 5,500 for everything to get worked on, all that. But it all depends on the car and everything else. But I won't get into that. A lot of nice cars here. If you like speedy, fast cars, you're gonna have. If you like hatchbacks, you're gonna find them because everything it seems like is a hatchback here, and that kind of diminished a lot of my choices because I'm just not a big fan of the hatchbacks look. And I'm not talking about more like Civic hatchbacks. I'm talking about like bigger sedan hatchbacks. Like just stuff like when you're younger, like I am, that don't really fit. What you really want in the car. But I mean, up here it snows a lot. So you definitely want to make sure you get a four-wheel drive car and some snow tires because that's the main thing. It's supposedly pretty bad here, snow-wise, and they don't plow like we do in the States because we're very anal and we freak out really, when inch of snow drop, we freak out. So They're kind of used to it, so they kind of get into the thing. But it's still just as dangerous anywhere else, being snowed in and bad hazard roads and snow blizzards and yada yada yada. But once you start getting used to it, there's a couple of roads that you gotta kind of pay attention to. Some weird little rules. At least I don't know. It may be different in like bigger cities like Tokyo and stuff, but smaller cities have little roads that kind of just like change for some reason. For example, one here in Masawa, it's from I think 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's a one-way street, but after 10 p.m., then it becomes a two-way street. And that sign's in Japanese. It says 10 to 2 with an arrow, but I mean, when you're driving and you're trying to make a turn real fast, it's kind of hard to like get out of that situation, especially because everything feels so narrow, so cramped in that you feel like you just got to go because everybody's behind you and next to you and everything. And so you definitely might see somebody on the wrong side of the road. I definitely did it myself where I was looking at the guy and I'm like, man, you're on the wrong side, guy. I'm on the left side, and you're on the left side too. You need to get somewhere. But I was actually turning, thank God, because I was on the wrong side because I forgot about that street. There's a bridge that closes down for like 2 or 3 hours out of the night, and I'm not sure why, but it's just one of those things you just got to remember. And so once you start getting used to that, everything is a little easier access, more access than most American cities, I'd say. Just like, it's pretty much a square grid all the way around. So you turn left, you go down, you take a right. You're going to get to eventually that place you did, even if you took a left later or a right later kind of thing. So it's kind of nice. You'll find a lot of small shops, which I kind of love. It's kind of, if you like exploring or, little shops that like have those little things or even specialty shops. Japan is definitely one you can get lost in and have a great time. I was actually just walking to the video game store when I didn't have a car, and I ended up at some little toy trinket shop, and I definitely am going to go back and get some stuff there because it just looked really cool, and they had some pretty decent prices. But a car is definitely needed up here in the north, I'd say. I don't know so much in the city, big city. I mean, there's definitely a lot more commuting and subway things you can do with that. You just definitely gotta just pay attention. I'm not sure for non-military, but I'm not sure how hard it is for you guys to get the Japanese license here, but maybe throw a comment down and kind of let me know, because I'm not really sure what kind of process it takes for that, because military, of course, is different and it's a little bit easier, I'd say, but I'll have to see because I'm not really know what the difference is. But yeah, come to Japan, you might see some cars, especially you'll see the Skyline Sylvias. If you're into racing cars or drifting cars, I mean, you'll have a blast looking around. Not even just having to buy them, just looking around. You'll find some fun cars. But if you have any questions or comments or anything I left out, please don't hesitate to comment. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.